All right. I hope you guys can hear me. God bless you all on a beautiful, crappy, what is this? September 20th. And we're talking all the jive about Area 51. If you didn't know, this is uh, the day that there was going to be people raiding Area 51. And I've decided to kind of get on here and educate everybody about what happened through the night. I was up all night last night, and I'll probably repeat this a couple times, but I was up all night last night um, watching the feeds as they were pouring in from Area 51 and Rachel, Nevada. Basically, what had happened is that there were two groups that were doing live feeds all night long into the break of dawn. Now, this event in American history is kind of comical in a lot of different ways. Um, just the fact that 2 million people think they can rush a government facility and basically usurp the guards and jump over the fences and do kick flips or whatever and run like Naratu or whatever, and they're going to break into Area 51 and expose the aliens that are inside. Uh, it's comical, and I think everybody kind of knew that it was a joke. However, the military did not uh, think it was funny. In fact, military.gov, if you look, there was over two or three posts that basically came out and said that they are going to start sending reinforcements to Area 51. Now, if you ever looked at Area 51 from like Google Earth or anything like that, it basically looks like a burned down uh, trailer park. I mean, it doesn't look like it's the hub of interstellar technology. But anyway, so here's what happened during the night. As you slept, ooh, my goatee looks a little funky. Anyway, as you slept, basically what happened is a bunch of dorks, and I'm saying that with God's love, basically went out and they were expecting 2 million people to infiltrate and to basically land uh, on this area outside of Area 51. I think it's called Rachel, Nevada. Now, the raid was scheduled for 3 o'clock in the morning, and that was Pacific time, so it was 6 a.m. Eastern, where I am. And so basically, what happened was there was only about 1,000 people, according to them. Now, from what I could see, it looked more like a few hundred. But basically, this was supposed to be a big event and a big. They were going to have a music festival, and it was really a poorly planned deal because this little town. Yes, Kitty Bush, there was a raid, and I'm going to get to it here in a second. But this little town outside of Area 51 has no infrastructure. There's like one hotel. They call it the Alien, which is cute. Um, but it's really like a mobile home that is a freaking, like it's a trailer that they've turned into a hotel. There's no restaurants, there's no gas. And basically, the music festival and everything that was happening in the desert was a bust. So everybody was purporting there was going to be 2 million people going to raid Area 51. But it's not, like I said, it didn't happen that way. So basically, what happened was whoever was putting this together called the event off. They just said, forget about it. But yet, there are a lot of people who took time off work and blah, blah, blah. And there was some sort of weird collaboration with the Las Vegas event. And they had a party where they sold $9 beers. And so, anyway, nobody, basically about half the people showed up to that jive. So, so it was pretty sparse. However, the true believers went to Area 51 last night. And so through the night, what we saw Was there was a group called Isaiah Photo, which this guy was the more bearable of the two groups. It's basically a guy from Minnesota and his friend from Ireland. They were there, and as dorky as they were, there was a group called the LDG Station who had a nice setup. In fact, when they would lose signal, LGD Station would send it back to California, and they would have a guy put up memes and talk about everything. But here's what basically happened: is so through the night, it basically looked like a comic book convention that descended upon Rachel, Nevada. And there were some security guards that kept kind of scaring everybody, and everybody was extremely skittish all night long. Somebody would be brave, and they would start talking loud, and the security guard would come over and be like, "You need to go sit over here and go over this way." So this happened for several hours last night. So there was confusion. There was no unified front. There was no leadership. So basically, this raid on Area 51 was supposed to happen at 3 a.m. Pacific time. People started to leave early. People started to go off on their own. And basically, what happened is what I've gathered from all the groups that were there, which basically two were streaming. And what had happened is since it's in the middle of the desert, there was no signal. So you basically were stuck in the desert with no signal. So they drove these two groups that were broadcasting closer than I was at Area 51. Hey, don't make fun of my hair. I'm streaming on several things. I see that, Darlene. My hair looks extra sexual this morning. I do need to shave, though. It's been a long night. So, so basically, they were broadcasting as they started to drive into the darkness, and everybody lost signal. So for about 50 minutes after 3 a.m. Pacific time, nobody knew where anybody was, and nobody knew what was going on. And so reports were coming out that people were getting arrested and everything like that. Now, the truth of the matter is, Area 51 is not easily accessible. And so the military and the government sent up police officers from Las Vegas and from Reno and the state police to basically make sure nothing was going to happen. 3 a.m. happens, rolls around, and about 100 to 150 people roll up. There's tons of people with signs. There's tons of crazy people talking. Most of the people are like extremely nerdy, not to be offensive, but nobody's going to do anything. Nobody ran into the facility. Nobody tried to get over the fence. Everybody was extremely scared. There were a lot of guards there. And if you've ever been to Area 51, it's a long dirt road. And there's basically a chain link fence, or there's basically a gate. And then you've got these facilities that are, you got a kind of couple of buildings like guard shacks. And then this road continues to go to the base. So there's no real way for them to go steal aliens or liberate aliens or see the aliens, because everything is still far away from the actual facility. The guards were extremely nice. They talked to everybody cordially. There was no violence. There was no pepper spray. And again, some people were rowdy. They brought some dogs out, but basically everybody was safe. Everybody was extremely scared. Everybody had a nervous breakdown going in. But so basically what happened, and this is going to be an all-day, an all-weekend event, but the real initial raid where everybody was supposed to break shitty and run into this building and liberate the aliens, that was supposed to happen this morning at 3 a.m. Pacific time. It didn't really pan out that way. Everybody was scared, senseless. And the guards were nice. Nobody posed a threat. There were no deaths. Nobody saw any aliens. In fact, the people that were reporting from the area were saying things like, I don't know if there were aliens there or not. There might have been aliens in the midst, but basically, the long and the short of it was basically you drove out in the desert. There's no restaurants. There's nowhere to pee. It was irritating. Everybody was scared. You drive out, you park, and then a security guard talks to you kind of nice, kind of like your dad. And then after a while, you're like, okay, well, this was, I'm out in the desert and I'm getting sand all over my costume because there was a lot of people there dressed up in all sorts of weird costumes, and a lot of them didn't even make sense. One guy had a plunger and a big floppy hair and a floppy coat and blah, blah, blah. So people shot some stuff. You can kind of feel like this fake nerd testosterone kind of bubbling up with everybody. And then essentially one by one, people would take off because there was nothing to do. Nobody was running like Naruto into the damn facility. And the joke of all this was, if this was actually a real event that didn't fall apart, because it did fall apart at the end, and now it's just kind of people doing this independently. Nobody stormed. Basically, what happened is people drove and then basically parked at the gate, and then the security guards and the cops basically said, how you doing? Let's not do anything stupid. Everybody was just like, okay. And then they just got back in the car and took off. So, I mean, it was a big, I don't know who's watching. I got a lot of people on different streams here. I'm on different devices, but it was a big jerk off, man, I don't want to offend anybody, but it was a waste of time. Now, to go out there and to experience the desert at night and to have all this energy and people kind of showing up in the middle of nowhere, and we're going to go advance towards an army base, I get it. That's kind of cool, but nothing really happened. And so everybody's safe. Nobody was shot. No nerds were shot. No nerds were hurt. No aliens were discovered. There was no violence. They brought a dog out at one point. That scared a lot of the nerds. And I wouldn't say it was fake. I would say a lot of people were like, it was fake. It was as good as it was going to get, because if people were going to bum rush Area 51, there would have been shots fired. It's a military base. You can't do that. And the joke of all this is that the social media people gave the government months to move. If there were any aliens in this place that looks like a burned out trailer park, they gave months to move the people away anyway. And like I said, this looks like it's just like a big nothing in the desert. Now, they may have this amazing Men in Black technology underneath the sand, but from the outside, it looks crappy, So anyway, I would like to invite you all to check out asiparanormal.com. We check out all this stuff, ghost, aliens. We have independent programming. If you go to www.asiparanormal.com, we actually have a show with WWE's Lita. And Lita from the WWE does the UFO show. And she actually has a halfway decent show about aliens. So check that out. www.asiparanormal.com. So anyway, still a lot of people in the feeds. I'll reiterate it because a lot of people came in late. Been watching. There was basically only 2 YouTubers last night broadcasting from Nevada. And Nevada, Rachel Nevada had, he had one guy. It was called Isaiah Photo. If you want to check out that channel, Isaiah Photo, those guys were a little less irritating than the guys from DG. Those guys were really super nerdy and kind of got on my nerves. But everybody was scared. Everything kind of fell apart. Everybody kind of huddled together. Nobody knew what was going on. It kind of felt like when Pokemon Go came out. You know how people were just kind of walking around like, "Hey, how you doing?" And it was kind of like just this crappy barbecue with no food in the middle of the desert. 3 a.m. The brave souls that wanted to decided to get in the cars. They pushed towards the gates of Area 51 into the darkness. They got up to the gate. And again, this is a long road in the middle of nowhere. There's no night watchman. There's no gas stations. There's no restaurants. There's no places to sleep. And when they approached the gates, they were met by several dozen guards that they pulled up from Las Vegas and Reno, and this type of thing. And everybody basically um, got out of the car. There were a lot of signs. There was a North Korean flag. Um, it was nutty. It was weird. People had signs that said this, that, and the other. It was kind of like if you ever saw Independence Day, that kind of vibe and flavor. Um, anyway, they got there. The people in authority were very nice. Nobody saw any aliens. There was no violence. They talked to people. Some of the nerds got rowdy. Some of the nerds' costumes didn't make any sense. But nothing really got out of hand. The guards were cordial. And one by one, people started to peel out. Now, this thing's going to last all weekend. God bless you. Good luck. I don't think anything's really going to come from it. 2.1 million people has whittled down to several hundred. They say they forecast that there could be 4,000 to 5,000 people showing up today. Who knows? So anyway, that's basically my report of what I witnessed all night long, watching the Area 51 raid go down. And it was basically like, if you've ever seen the SpongeBob where they basically did a penny raid and they went to Mr. Krabs' mom's house and got her bloomers. That's essentially what happened, metaphorically speaking, in this realm. Well, God bless you all. Again, check out asyparanormal.com, asyparanormal.com. You will dig it. And that's it. I mean, there's nothing else to talk about except, your mom's hot.